So a representative Canadian sample found that 32% of participants reported experiencing maltreatment in childhood, in this case defined as physical abuse, sexual abuse, or witnessing domestic violence. It's no surprise that this study, among others, have found maltreatment in childhood to be associated with poor psychological functioning. Numerous studies have examined risk factors for and protective factors against the after effects of child abuse. My study in particular is going to be looking at attachment in childhood and adulthood and the role that that may play in the association between child maltreatment and later psychological outcomes. So attachment is understood as a strong emotional connection or bond, and we generally talk about attachment in terms of either childhood attachment, so parent-child relationship, or adult attachment, so romantic relationship. And we know from the research in attachment that how you feel about and interact with your caregiver affects your personality development and how you feel about romantic relationships as you mature. So essentially, individuals who as children have their needs reliably met by a parent or caregiver are more likely to develop more secure attachment, whereas individuals who don't have their needs reliably met or who have more negative or unpredictable interactions with their parent or caregiver are more likely to develop an insecure attachment style. So there has been research demonstrating that insecure attachment is associated with poor psychological functioning. And we also know that there's an association between child maltreatment and attachment, in that individuals who have been maltreated as children are more likely to develop an insecure attachment style. So there has been research demonstrating an association between insecure attachment and poor psychological functioning. And we also know that there's a relationship between child maltreatment and insecure attachment, in that individuals who have been maltreated as children are more likely to be insecurely attached. More recently, there's been a growing body of research that has found adult attachment as a moderator for the association between maltreatment in childhood and later psychological functioning in terms of outcomes such as depression and PTSD symptomatology. And this makes sense. We would expect that somebody who's been maltreated as a child but has a stronger relationship with their romantic partner has more positive outcomes than somebody who does not. However, there's not been research that has considered childhood attachment as a moderator for the association between child maltreatment and later psychological functioning. And this research is the theoretical basis for my study. So with that in mind, my present study is replicating past research by examining adult attachment as a moderator for the association between maltreatment in childhood and psychological outcomes such as depression, PTSD, anxiety, and self-esteem, and expanding upon it by examining childhood attachment as a moderator for the association between child abuse and psychological functioning. Though I'm still in the middle of my data analysis, I anticipate that insecure attachment styles in both childhood and adulthood will moderate the association between maltreatment and later psychological functioning, in that individuals who have been maltreated, who have an insecure attachment style, for those people there will be a stronger correlation between experiences of maltreatment and poor psychological functioning, as opposed to those who have been maltreated and have a more secure attachment style. So results from this study can be utilized to gain further insight into how people who have experienced abuse or other trauma can go on to have positive outcomes. And in addition, it can assist people who are struggling in dealing with the after effects of such trauma.